Okay, good morning. I think Richard is still putting up his mic card as he had told us earlier. So welcome. I see the house is full. It's very full. I hope you managed to get the link to the FB so you can inform your colleagues who haven't been able to join the Zoom because it's already full. But as we move on, I want to say welcome everybody. Please as continue putting your hellos in the chat as well as where you're viewing us from. My name is Damaris Ndungwa, Lead Strategist, Blue Concepts Africa. I am standing in right now for Mr. Magoma, who is going to be the moderator of this session, but is quite having a tech hitch, which is sorting with his mic. I have the panelists in the house, so as I've been tasked right now is just to do a very quick and brief introduction of the panelists, and we have Madam HRP Lucy, who is in the house. Welcome, very much glad to see you, Madam Lucy. Lucy is a certified HR professional. Just like most of us, we are happy to have you in the house and has over 13 years of comprehensive human resource management. That's quite some experience there. And this spans in HR itself and administration. She has been at the helm of leadership for a couple of years, making her one of the most grounded HR experts, especially in the finance sector. She is currently the group head of HR and administration, CPF Financial Services. And just talk a bit about the accolades that he has. She has an MBA in Human Resource Management from the University of Nairobi, a Bachelor's of Arts degree in Sociology and Economics options from the Catholic University of Eastern Africa, and higher diploma in Human Resource Management from the Institute of Human Resource Management. For those who don't know what that is, it is the current CHRM college. She is a full member of the Institute of Human Resource Management and a full member also of the Kenya Institute of Management. Welcome very much, CHRP Lucy. Glad to have you on board. Moving on, you will get a minute to say something about yourself as we proceed with Magoma. Moving on, I want to move to Francis Kagure. Welcome, Dr. Glad to see you in this forum. Dr. Kagure has 18 years of experience, again, in human capital management and organizational strengthening programs in energy and health sector. That's great, glad to have you. He currently serves as a director of institutional performance improvement activities, including capacity and organization development services to power entities, regulators, and the government in East Africa. Under the East Africa Energy Program, he has successfully repurposed the USAID Human and Institutional Capacity Development model in Kenya, quite an achievement. Ethiopia and Somalia is supporting identification of organizational capacity gaps in developing effective performance improvement. Prior to joining RTI, which he works for currently now, Dr. I know was manager with Kenya Power and Management Company. Mr. Dr. Kagure is a member of the side of Human Resource Management in the United States. Oh yeah, and the Institute of Human Resource Management in Kenya as well. Welcome, Dr. Glad to have you on board as well. We'll give you a minute or so to introduce yourself rather well, deeper, as you would want to put it. We have Mathangani Moyo. Welcome. Coach Moyo, like we call him, is a human resource specialist, a certified coach, and is an HR strategist as well as the MD of Pristine Management Solutions. He's got experience spanning to 25 years, both in private and public sector in Kenya. And is one thing that I've learned from Mathangani as a profile is actually one person who's grown right from ground to executive positions, still in the field of HR. We are honored to have you, Mathangani, here. I know you have led top-notch teams in organizations like Tana Water Services at the Water, Galana Oil, Hashi Energy, Kenya, Aerotech, Deloitte, not forgetting Gillette, and many other organizations. We are happy to have you on board. Those are the panelists we'll be having and engaging today in this session. Not forgetting myself, Damaris Ndungwa. I'm an HR professional as well with over 14 years of bias in learning and development, what you call talent development. I am a corporate culture architect. I have a passion for enabling or unlocking cultures for organization. And one thing I got in that is to be able to enable leadership and teams for them to sustain such cultures within the organization. And I work for Blue Concepts Africa, an organization that does that as well. So welcome on board. I want to hand this to one Mr. Coach Magama. Are you there? I know you're ready to move on with the session. Not forgetting to mention this session HR for upcoming HR mentorship is a series that it actually kicks off a series of events that we call Wajibika HR Wajibika series in the spirit of celebrating HR month in Kenya. And we will be rolling more of that as as Richard will be mentioning in a few. As for me, I am so grateful for the partners who's come on board Blue Concepts Africa, the Talent Growth Club, which will tell us a bit about it, Richard as well. And of course, Pristine Management Solution, whose management MD is here, that is Managing Director, Mr. Mathangani. Welcome over to you, Coach Richie.
And work on them and ensure that everyone else is following the same. And then create a space for yourself to be a go-to person. When I began, I said you must understand the business, and as you get in there, make yourself visible. Make yourself that person who everyone else in the institution can go to. You could be like 10 HR officers or professionals in an institution, but there's always that one person who people would want to go to. So as you get in there, be the go-to person for everyone in the institution. How would you make yourself that? By making sure that you are a person who understands things and gives advices adequately, and making sure that your interpersonal relations is really good, so that you can now be able to communicate. HR is about communicating, talking to people and giving them directions as far as HR matters are concerned. So the way you handle people is the way also you get a space to be that go-to person. And when you are a go-to person, every time everyone talks about HR department or function, you are the first person that people will think about. And that actually leverages you, because if there's any growth in the institution, or even if there's an opportunity to have someone go and do a certain training which is HR related, everyone will always think about you, because you are that person who people really go to when they need help, and you always provide the same. So that is another thing that you should do for you to be strategic in the profession. And then the other important thing is you get a mentor. A mentor is someone who will walk with you the journey. A mentor is someone who has been in the profession for long, like me and my colleagues who are here today. So you establish a mentor or identify a mentor early in life. I always tell myself, if I knew during our time when we were getting into the profession, you'd hardly find someone who will say, can I hold your hand? We work together, and this is how it is in the profession. This is how you do things. Probably most of us didn't get that chance to get mentors. You maybe have met them along the way when you already know most of the things. So that mentorship didn't actually maybe help you when you're starting up. But if you get yourself a mentor like now, you will be strategic in the profession, because that means in every aspect you'll be on top of things, and you'll always have someone to guide you when you're stuck, when you want to know, if now I want to move from point A to point B, what do I do? There's someone who will tell you, okay, if you want to do this, you can do this. If you are faced with a certain scenario in your workplace, this is what you can do. So it becomes so easy to 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 move on when you have a mentor, someone who will walk with you the journey. And these mentors can be with you all through your profession, uh, all through the profession. So these are people who will build you and also learn from you. Mentors actually, however much they are more senior in the profession, they also learn from you. So, because the times change a lot in the HR field, so we all learn from ourselves. But the most important thing is you must be able to identify a mentor as early as you begin your career, and that's what will make you strategic as we go forward. The other thing is you must create your network. Networks are very important in the HR space because every time you are faced with a situation, with a scenario, with uh, as maybe a complexity of some sort, you have someone you can call and say, "Hey, Lucy, I'm facing this. How have you handled this? Have you ever come across such a thing? How have you handled it before?" Because some of these things they are unique as per the institution, but there are things which people have gone through. So every time you have a network of people, it's very rare for you to get stuck. You can imagine maybe you're starting up your career and maybe your head is been given an assignment to do by the board, and they're saying you have to research on maybe employee experience and see how it can be enhanced in our own scenario. Then you're told, person X, can you run with this? So if you don't have the networks to know how they've done it, how they've improved it, it becomes so hard for you to move. So it's important to create your networks and keep them going. And then people, when you get to a new role, a new job, or you get to HR, you'll be given a JD. What people usually do is they get contented with what is in the JD. It's my JD. It says I do 1, 2, 3, and that's it. So every time you're confronted with something that's not in your JD, people tend to say, that's not part of my job. But if you want to be strategic in the HR profession, you must be able to do everything, even whatever is outside your JD. For example, if maybe you are in very a complex institution, and institutions that has so many departments like training, performance, and those are separate departments that don't relate to each other. So you come in as a training officer, so you must seek to know performance, know recruitment, know any other function of the HR, so that now as you go up, you're well versed with everything in the HR field. As opposed to if you just follow that one line of training, you may not get far. So don't just do what your JD says you do. Purpose to be a generalist at the beginning, purpose to do everything that pertains HR and even more. That way it will put you in a more advantageous position and which will be strategic. The most interesting part of it now is that you must enjoy talking to people. HR is about talking, about communication, about listening. So if you're not that person who listens and who can talk to people, then maybe HR may not be your profession. You must be able to really enjoy talking to people. And as you talk to people, also you must take care so that you don't overdo it. You don't over indulge yourself in the issues of employees. They will say we should empathize with employees, but not sympathize. Because sometimes sympathy then makes you a victim instead of making you someone who can help an employee to come out of a scenario that they are going through. So you must enjoy talking to people and also helping them to generate solutions for the issues they are going through. Personally, I don't believe in giving solutions. I believe in facilitating someone to get the solutions or to come up with solutions of what they are going through. So if you give them the solutions, it may not work. But if they become part of solution making, in whatever the employee is going through, then that works best. So you must enjoy listening, enjoy talking to the people, and enjoy doing what the HR professions is all about. So those are a few tips I can give you for now, and you can work on them. And for sure, in 3 or 2 years' time, you would be able to come back here and say, indeed, I tried 1 or 2 of them and they are really working. So thank you so much, Richard. I've come to the end of that presentation. Now I can take questions if that is okay, but that's the end of what I had to say today. Richard, you lost me. Am I still there?
He will be joining us in a few, but maybe Damaris, you can pick it up from there kindly.
Okay. I can see an hand up. Damaris. Wow.
Sorry.
Balala,
sorry
maybe
you
can go ahead.
Hi, good morning, everybody. Can you hear me? I would like
Yes, I can
to
hear
maybe
you.
understand, how do we go about identifying a mentor?
Okay, thank you. Richard, let me take a number of questions. I can address them all at once instead of taking one.
Yeah, I think Richard has dropped. I can see I sent us a message separately.
Oh, okay.
Challenges. So I think you can answer. Then maybe Terry, and as you can see, Damaris is also saying something has also happened on their side. I think it's everybody's day of power off or something. So Terry, if you're there, you can just guide us. We can continue. So you can answer the question and
Oh, yeah, you.
Oh, okay, fine. So Balala asked, how do we identify a mentor? A mentor is someone you look up to, someone you admire, someone you know. So if you have this person in the HR profession that you really would like to, like, for example, you have been, I'm sure by the time you choose the HR profession, there's something that really made you to choose that profession. There's someone you saw, there's someone you may have had, they do this. Even the people maybe you may not have seen, but maybe you've read about them, how they lead the HR function, what they've done in institutions, and you want this person to really, it's a person you admire and you'd like the person to mentor you. So you make sure you look for how you can reach the person. Otherwise, a mentor is someone you know very well and someone you admire what they do. So that's how you identify. It will be someone who carries almost the same principles and values as yourself, and someone who you think can lead you to where your vision, where your mission wants to take you as a person. Where do you want to go? Who do you think can really take you to this space? So it's someone who is known to you, would be well known, would be you have read about the person. And actually a mentor can also be in terms of someone who has written some kind of books. There are people who've written so nice books, or now they lead people, they have insights on leadership, on management, and maybe this is the person you really admire and you want person to mentor you. People can mentor professionals through books. So you could actually have a mentor who is not like a physical person, but by reading the books of that person, you are able to be what you want to be in your career or even in your life. So it's different for different people, and yeah, that's how it is. Any of my colleagues can add on to it. If you have any comment to add on to what Balala has asked, you can also add, but that's how you go about it, Balala. I hope I've been able to sufficiently answer your question.
Maybe Coach Moya can quickly jump in to complete what Madam Lucy is saying.
Yeah, you just covered the fundamentals and really to look for a mentor, first and foremost is to have the will to commit yourself to that, because mentorship is mostly voluntary, and therefore, when you're selecting that person, it must be somebody whom you are comfortable with and also comfortable with you. You might take somebody who is maybe you don't feel comfortable. And what I mean by comfortable, they might be too senior and you don't have that rapport. So it must be somebody whom we are willing to open up to, and somebody who will be able to actually open to you. And if they give you criticism, you accept it, and you only use them to get more insights. So somebody who works with you, but they must also have excelled in their area, and therefore they must be seen to be adding value to you. So, and most of the times a mentor can be in two perspectives. One, they can be from a technical perspective of the job you're doing, and the other one can be one who is helping you to grow in terms of personal development. Thank you.
Okay, thank you for that addition. I can see. Okay.
Proceed.
Thank you so much. Okay.
Terry. Sorry, we seem to be having serious technical issues with my other two colleagues. So ask Terry if you can hear, then I think you can go ahead and invite Dr. Kangure.
Maybe before she invites, I can see a question on the chat. Someone is asking, the organization strategy and their vision and how to align that with the HR role to be part of the success. So let me answer to that. Yes, we have organization strategies, and indeed HR has to align to the organization strategy. So every HR or head of HR in an institution must have an HR strategy, which has to align with the bigger strategy, the corporate strategy. So how you align with that in every strategy? I'm sure if you've seen the strategies of your institution, you will find that there is the issue of capacity building, there is the issue of employee experience or engagement, and there is the issue of maybe recruitment, talent management. All that aligns to the corporate strategy, because without as the strategy evolves, there's the need for training, there's the need of bringing in more people. So the HR strategy must speak to the bigger strategy of the corporate of the institution. So how you align it is that you look at the bigger strategy and create a strategy for HR from that, because it has to speak to that bigger strategy. So that's how you align. And yeah, I think that's basically what it is. And then maybe mostly how to get this is when the strategy is being developed for the entire organization, HR must be part of it. Otherwise, if you are not part of the strategy development, then it will not be easy for you to align with the bigger strategy. So HR must be in on the onset. I say always the strategy division or department and HR are partners in doing the corporate strategy. So you must always be involved in formulating the bigger strategy so that you can align HR in within it. Thank you so much. Jerry, you can take it up.
Thank you. Thank you so much, Lucy. Thank you so much, Madam Lucy. A lot of strategy, what strategy, strategic, straight to Dr. Kangure. Maybe you can align us with the difference, or is there any difference between a strategic HR? We've had the word being called strategic HR. You need to be a strategic HR. Is there a difference between strategic HR and does it even differ from the HR strategy itself? Where is the cut line, Dr. Kangure?
Good morning, everyone, and thank you, Terry. Thank you, Lucy. I hope you can hear me clearly.
Yes, I can.
My name is Francis Kangure. I work with Research Triangle International. I am the director in charge of the Performance Improvement Unit. Apart from that, I am a postdoctoral fellow with Strathmore University. So I'm a HR professional, but I also take part in research activities quite a bit. I'm also very passionate about mentorship, and I'm very, very excited to see quite a number of people here coming to discuss HR, the growth of HR profession, and how we can be able to handhold each other so that we can grow. Before I answer your question, Terry, about strategic HR and how to be strategic as a HR person, kindly allow me to share 2 slides as a follow-on to the very, very good introduction that we have been given by Lucy about mentorship. And then we go to the details of the strategy and how to be strategic as a HR professional.
Go ahead.
Yes. So that's the topic, how to be intentional to the growth of your HR career. This is very, very important. When I look at the list that we have here for the people attending, about 90, I know there are quite a number of people who are young. And this is especially very, very important for you because you are looking to grow your career and you are looking to develop and become established. I want to start by introducing something that I would like you to understand. And I picked a quote from a very good book that I read recently. And this book, the title is From the Rat Race to Financial Freedom. From the Rat Race to Financial Freedom, written by Aurora. This lady said that you can make excuses and earn sympathy, or you can make money and earn admiration. Okay? This quote is not basically about money. This phrase is about growth. If you read the sentence below, and this is what I want you to take away, is that your financial sustainability depends on having income to support your spending, because you have a rent to pay, maybe a mortgage, maybe school fees, saving, and investment. Okay? A primary component of your income, as we speak today, many of us are employed, especially in early adult life, and that's why I'm talking about young people, is income from your wages and salary. Okay, that is from working or selling your labor. So you sell your labor to earn income, to earn money. So your ability to maximize the price that your labor can bring depends on the labor market that you choose and your ability to sell yourself. Those abilities will be called on throughout your working life. And that is why the introduction we had from Lucy for us is very, very important. What we are trying to do is to maximize the value for ourselves so that we deliver labor that is so impactful and we earn adequate income to be able to support our life. So as you grow in your career, don't forget that your wealth also needs to grow. Your capabilities need to grow. Your presence needs to grow. Your name needs to be known as you grow, not basically being promoted from one level to the other. Okay? So in the career growth, you start by exploration stage. That's when you graduate from a university or a college and you're looking for employment and you're exploring all the options, what you can do as a HR person, establishing yourself. And this is where Lucy said you need to understand HR management in general. Don't be too specific in the beginning. After that, then you start to establish yourself and you can start specializing on a specific line. You should be known for one thing that you are really good at. You could be good in compensation management. You could be good in learning and development. You could be good in employee-industrial relations. You could be good in labor laws, name it, but you establish a niche for yourself. Then there is what we call a maintenance stage, where you have established yourself, but now you want to maintain and to mentor other people and to have a purpose that is beyond earning income, okay? And then late career is when you are approaching retirement. So when you navigate through those stages, it is very, very important for you to establish yourself and get a mentor as you have been advised. And in the following slide, I want to show you the indicators of growth as a HR person, sorry. So I have a small list here that I want to share with you. Once you establish yourself within the HR profession, when can you know that you have grown and you can be able to sell your labor and earn adequate income and have a great impact? Number one is mentoring other people. You have seen some of us here, Mutagani, Moya here, Richard, Damaris, Lucy. What we are trying to do is to mentor other professionals. Why are we doing that? We are doing that also to grow ourselves. As you mentor other people, you become better. And actually, this is one good indicator that you are growing. If you are able to mentor somebody else, hold their hands, help them grow, then it means you have grown. Seeking higher goals, okay? Looking to have impact in other people, in organizations, very, very important. Then another thing that is important, and it is often forgotten, is portraying ethical behavior all the time, both in public and private, is an indicator of growth. Having integrity, having strong values. And HR is a very, very sensitive and respectable profession, such that if we lose our own ethics and integrity, then we lose our profession entirely. We handle very sensitive issues, very confidential files and information, and therefore the issue of integrity is key. So you also know that you are growing when you realize that you are able to say no to negative temptations, okay? When you're able to say no to things that you should not do, you know that you have grown. And the ability to discern integrity traps like bribes and favors. When you are able to identify the traps, then you have grown. Growth in confidence. You are called to a mentorship program like this one, and you are ready to volunteer yourself, speak in confidence, advise other people. That's sign of growth. And whatever level you are, please take advantage of opportunities presented to you by your organization and colleagues to present in public, to speak in public, because that will build your confidence, improve your skills, you become better, even in terms of interpersonal skills, okay? If you look down there, attaining work-life balance, you know, when you work, you need to know that work is a means, it's not an end in itself. It's a means to make your life better. And therefore, you need to be balanced. You need to have interests beyond day job. Do you do anything else apart from work? Or without work, you are nothing. So you need to establish interests beyond your workplace. And this is where a mentor is a very, very important person in your life. And you do not need to necessarily choose a mentor within your organization. Choose somebody outside the organization so that you experience life outside your organization and you grow your network. One thing, if you get a good mentor, they are going to open doors for you. You are going to get more opportunities. It's very, very important for you to be mentored and to be known. Many people, when you are looking for a job in a specific organization, they'll ask you, but do you know somebody there? That is not an important question. The most important question in your career growth is not who you know, it's who knows you. Okay, so if you get an opportunity to speak somewhere, speak and the people will get to know you. If you get an opportunity to interact with an important mentor who can influence your career, speak to them because they'll get to know you. And when there is that opportunity, they'll remember, I know Lucy, I know Moya, and therefore I know what they can deliver. So the most important thing in this world, remember, is not who you know, is who knows you. Now, being motivated by higher order needs, like self-actualization, is really important, okay? So you have enough income, your career is stable, you have wealth, and therefore you want to have an impact in the society. That is an indicator of growth. Then teamwork, aligning yourself to organization objectives. Now this is strategic HR. Some people just report to work and they wait to be told what to do. Don't be that kind of a person. Report to your desk, understand what the organization is looking to achieve, and look for your space in that strategic plan. Okay? Identify the gaps that need human intervention, that need HR skills, and support the organization. Okay? Promote teamwork and collaboration. Another indicator, interesting, all of you will agree with me. All of us look for higher salaries. If you realize that your salary is going up, you are growing. If your job is being enlarged and the people invite you, you are in charge of learning and development, but people tell you, Terry, can you please support us in performance management section? Please do it. That is called job enlargement, and the people have realized your talent. They are giving you an opportunity to grow. It's not additional work, it's an additional opportunity. Opportunities present themselves that way, like a blue apron. They present themselves as additional work, but those are opportunities that you should take. If you also find other professionals reaching out to you, asking for support, that is an indicator of growth. Then you are growing. If you realize your colleagues are reaching out to ask you questions and support, you are growing. And that is why Lucy told you, position yourself to be that kind of a person that is a go-to person when we need advice. Attaining future career skills, look at the future, not today. What does a HR professional require for tomorrow? IT skills, very, very important. You need to be tech savvy. Interpersonal skills, emotional intelligence, leadership, okay? Climate adaptation programs and so on. Those are important skills outside maybe mainstream HR that are very, very important for HR people. HR people require to be very broad to understand what is happening in the environment. So you need to keep on learning additional skills so that you can grow. And also participate both in formal and informal sessions like the one that we have today. So you are among the lucky few people who have an opportunity to come, sit here and listen to several people, because this is how you learn. Always seek out opportunities to learn, not necessarily going for a formal classroom training, but opportunities like this one are learning opportunities. Now back to Terry's question. You become strategic as a HR person by positioning yourself for future careers in HR and for growth. You become strategic. Then strategic HR management is to understand that as I work for my organization, I need to understand the strategic plan and what the organization is looking to achieve. And I look for my position in that strategic plan where I can be able to participate. So thank you very much. And then back to you, Terry. But if there are questions and comments, I'm here to respond. Thank you very much.
Wow, quite insightful there, Dr. Kagure. Thank you so much for that slide. And straight to Coach Muya, a word or two to top up of what Kagure has said. Coach Muya?
Yes, thank you. Yes, let me just start my video. And Dr. Kagure?
Yes.
Dr. Kagure, can you hear me?
I can hear you.
Okay, you can stop sharing and then you can surrender the host back to you. First of all, please admit Damaris and Coach Richie.
All right.
Then after that, you can surrender back to her because her computer had an issue and Coach Richie had an issue. Thank you.
Yeah, let me see how to do this. Thank you, thank you.
Yeah. All right, thank you very much, people, and thank you very much for attending. I am happy to see you. Mine was to give some tips on some fundamental things that are important for HR to be successful. And one of the first things that we need to do has been mentioned in terms of really trying to understand what the HR is all about. Now, most of us, either will have studied HR, and if you look at most of what we study in HR, and I believe all of you have, is that we are told that this is, for example, performance management, and they will give you what performance management is and how to go about it. But what they don't teach you is exactly effective. The statements will be there. You also understand about the issue of creating good relationships within an organization. But when you get to the workplace, you find a totally different place. And it is a fact that dealing with people can be very exciting. It can also be very difficult sometimes, and it has got its own challenges. So besides the technical aspects, it is very important that you also develop other skills that will enable you, to communicate effectively what your objectives are or what your agenda as an individual, as an organization, or as a HR. And to do that, first you need confidence. The greatest challenge we find with most people is that they lack that confidence to cope with situations, to also able to respond to the challenges that they may be having. They may also be having challenges in expressing themselves. I know Dr. Kangure has also spoken, and Lucy Mandago has spoken about communication, but we need to go further beyond what is communication. Communication, we all know what it is, but the greatest challenge, again, we have with human beings is that we seem not to be able to communicate. You have a supervisor, you have a boss, and they're not able to articulate very, very clearly what they want to see happen, what the instructions they give you. Sometimes they leave you hanging. So it is important that we develop that confidence first and foremost. And the confidence comes through the development of other so-called soft skills, which are not normally very soft. And this is where your ability to understand your role, your relationship with the management and the employees that you're serving comes in very, very important. It is a balance. Now, as we learn about the other things that you were taught, like the policies which are there, we also find that we are not very open sometimes to going to find out beyond what we call the letter. The letter is what is written, but what is the spirit? If you look at the Employment Act as it is today, there are a lot of things it will not tell you. And hence, the questions that we always get from fellow practitioners, and since this was aimed at upcoming. So when you read these laws, it is good to get in and try to interpret them beyond what is written there. So what am I talking about? Is going out of your way and seeking an interpretation or an advice from somebody who may be there, able to interpret for you and say, what does this exactly mean? For example, I'll give a simple example. When termination is one of the issues that face all HR and is actually a pain point for all managers and CEOs. But when you read the act itself, it does not give you those steps by step. It makes general statements. Like, for example, somebody may be given an opportunity to defend themselves. It doesn't tell you, you have to write this show cause letter. It doesn't tell you how long you should wait for a response from the employee before you summon them. Okay. It doesn't tell you whether the employee should sit in that committee. It doesn't tell you whether they should sign. So you have to say what is considered fair if you're dealing with a disciplinary issue in the workplace. So the other things that come in is now you have to set a process, because most laws don't give you the process. They only give you the intention and what would happen and how it would happen. So it just tell you gross misconduct constitutes of the following. It doesn't tell you whether you have stolen, whether you have fought in the workplace, whether you have been rude, whether you have underperformed. So as an upcoming HR, you need to seize that moment and say, what are those things that constitute gross misconduct within my context? And this is what you should be sharing with management and in your policies, because now you can expound on them and say gross misconduct actually means like if you're found to have committed a fraud. But then always remember there has to be evidence. So what does that mean? In your policy, you have to say something like there must be investigated and the employee found capable with adequate evidence to discharge them. So this is what we are saying about the qualities you need is be outward thinking, think about what can stand in a court of law. If you're presenting to your boss a proposal, have all your facts, which brings me to the next point. You must be able to write persuasive reports and proposals, which now you need another skill, which is actually persuasive skills, which leads to negotiation skills. We always do negotiations at one time or the other in our lives, in shops, in mama bogas, in our whatever we do outside. But how much are we conscious that this is a negotiation skill I need anytime I am discussing a matter with a fellow employee, with a fellow manager, because it's a win-win situation. So if you're not conscious that I'm going to this meeting and these are my points of discussion and this is how I'm going to present them, you'll probably find yourself being put to task or questioned, or your ideas actually being questioned, not with bad intention, but there be those who will be very clear, they want to bring you down. So be very clear that this is a skill I need. You also need other skills that can make you be felt. Besides persuasive skills, you must also learn to be assertive. Assertive is simply being able to speak out what your feelings are, and by using and your opinions or your ideas, and being ready to accept if they are challenged, if they are found not purely correct or factual or not workable, and accepting other people's opinions, okay? And then putting together your ideas together and taking a common stand, and you don't bear it to anybody in case you came with a proposal and it didn't go through and your idea. So purely assertive gives you that confidence to understand that other people have a right to an opinion. They have a right to make a mistake, to be wrong, and if they are wrong, you don't actually put them down. The same will apply to you. If your ideas, if it's an opinion, then you must be able to say, oh, well, that is what at this moment I felt was right, but I understand your position. But can we also consider this? Because most of us are afraid to push our ideas. Why? Because maybe we're challenged in a meeting, and then that we lose our confidence and sometimes our self-esteem. So it's very important for you to understand that speak out if you don't. The other thing that we can be able to develop as HR is once you understand your business, and you're not going to understand it, you're not going to understand even HR. What we are saying is within a very short time, you must understand what are the fundamental things that you must know. Is that you must be able to become like an advisor and a confidant to your management and also to the employees. As it simply means if a matter is brought to you, you have the information that will be required to make an informed decision. If that does not happen, people will start doubting you. They will start seeing you as somebody who is only pushing one agenda, and most of the times employees see you as siding with management and sometimes management. But if you are able to present your case, the typical case we have is where we have management or managers picking on employees unfairly or for the wrong reason because of something totally unconcerned about the work. So it is your duty to say, you're saying this person has committed the following. Typical example will be performance. And you have to say, do you actually have, you start with the job description. Did you give the employees, are they aware? Yes. Do they know what they're supposed to do? That is what we are saying. Put the manager to task. Is the employee aware they were supposed to have done this? How was it communicated? Now here you are being not only confident, but assertive. Then you say, I'm sorry, I don't find enough evidence here or fact to make me write this warning letter or to put this person on a disciplinary process. So this, you're just standing. The people may not, may feel like you're not supporting them. But with time, you also have a duty to tell them and let them know and guide them. So you become a friend to the manager and say, I'm sorry, I don't want to embarrass you. But if you take this forward, my position is very clear. I will recommend that we don't have evidence to take this action. And with time, people will start seeing you as a fair person, as a person who takes a position, and a person who is respected. Because when you stand on the fair side of the lane, no matter how toxic your environment is, people will know that you're doing good. So as we proceed with that, it is our duty that when we are doing our work, we don't shy away from going beyond. And let me be very clear. Most of us have a tendency, and we like the forums where we are. And when you raise a matter, you find somebody may ask you, have you checked this? So make sure all the time. What happens with us is that our bosses are watching us. So when they come to you and they give you that call and they call out and ask, I have a situation. How do you say? Then you say, I'll find out. No, unless it's something that you really need to find out. You can either say, give me 2 minutes, sir. Madam, I'll come back to you just now. Please make it to that 15 minutes. By that time, you say, what? I've looked at the facts, I've looked at this file, I've got so and so, and the facts are 1, 2, 3. I think I need more information to give you a better decision. This is what you're talking about, confidence and being proactive. So shy away from really saying, I don't know. These are statements you should never say as a leader. You should never say, I don't know. You should never say, I don't understand, because they're coming to you. What you can say, I don't have the facts. I am not aware of this.
Sorry, Madhangani, I'm trying to mute that one.
Yes, please do. I think you can meet her.
Yes.
Why we gonna ready food? That was my question.
Okay.
Kindly mute yourself.
Maybe they can't hear it. Just maybe just pick whoever they are, or just meet all of us first. All right, I think we just continue. All right, maybe override them. Then in HR, it's very important to also be conscious of the emerging issues. We have so many emerging issues that some of us are still living in the old, can I say, space. We are dealing with emerging issues of generations and also people tech. Are we ready for that? And do we have the skills? I'll give an example. If you want to thrive and succeed in HR, one of the things that most people fear or they are told is like you're told you'll be dealing with payroll. And what we find is some people just panic. Oh no, I don't know that. Put it in finance. What in essence you're doing, you've just sold an opportunity to be failed, to be had an additional responsibility. So go beyond gaining not only the skills that we are talking about, but also the tech issues that bother people. Do you have systems? I used to, with all due respect, most of us are using a lot of paperwork. Have you said I can learn Excel so that I can be able to prepare records? I have been in this place, and sometimes we used to be told, please give us a report on this. And since you're not very conversant, or neither have you created a database, it will take you almost 2 days or half a day, just trying to make a staff list with various functions. So it is very important to start becoming technologically savvy, even if you don't have the full resources of who HRMI is. Learn the basics. Some of us don't know how to manipulate even a Word document. Some of us have challenges with Excel. And what we do, we surrender that to somebody who seems to have Excel. Most of them tend to be accountants. And therefore, let's not complain when our work is given to accountants. So be also, when we were told to be strategic, check out what is it that is a pain point of my managers? What is it that my boss, the CEO or the senior management keep on complaining? And you say, I think I'll find a way of working with the other department to solve this problem. Typical things in an organization that is very sales focused, people may complain that the sales department is not performing well. There is a lot of turnover. Take a point of really sitting with that manager and ask, how can I help you? And come with a plan. Maybe there are issues in that department. Maybe he is a problem himself. Come with a proposal and say, I would like to reduce the turnover. I would like to reduce the level of complaints in customer service by the following activities. Make them. Learn to use numbers, quantitative and qualitative. Why are we training people? That's why we find, and I've been there, the COS, why do you want me to spend 2 million? What will be there for me? So you must quantify, and therefore it means you must become almost a researcher. Have data. At the moment, we're having this number of complaints in this department. At this moment, this department have. Start using basic data to say, how come in accounts there's too high turnover? It started when XYZ joined. Maybe they are the problem. Maybe it's employees who didn't have the competencies. So start manipulating data, even very basic at your own. And currently we are having technology that is really moving. It is not as expensive as it was a few years ago. To put a HRMS was like a big thing. Today, with minimal amount in SME, can be able to put a robot, but then use it. I have been in places. So if you don't use it, so it is these things that make us as HR sometimes to be questioned. What is it we are adding? We're only called when there's a problem with the staff, when there's a leave issue, or I don't know, there's an accident, there is medical. No, those are called HR admin issues. They're important to get them right, but they're the so-called strategic issues which move the organization towards its strategic goals. Be seen to play a role. So you can be able to do that. I think I'll stop there, and maybe Coach Richie, you can maybe take from there. I'll be willing to answer more questions, I think, from your end. Coach Richard?
Richard, are you there? Well, I can see he had joined. I don't know whether he can hear us, but everybody can hear me now. Mathangani, can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you.
Great. I'm telling you, today it was tech character development for me, but I managed to join after 5 or so minutes. But yeah, I can see it's value. It's great. It's leads from the chat I've been following, and people are asking a lot of questions. Yeah, looks like time has moved. I see, yeah, there's a pack of questions going on now. And I believe we can move swiftly forward to the next to the next phase of this conversation to answer a lot of this question coming in. And I want to start with Esther Karue's question. Would you kindly recommend some good human resource information systems? Let me pick that. It just quickly moved on. People are really writing questions right now. For small organization, that would help in HR analytics. What would that entail? Maybe this one I would direct to Ms. Daktari Kagure. Can you pick that one in a minute? If you have
Yes.
a recommendation, that is, I know you do. Somehow you're an expert and an advisor in this area.
Yeah, I would start by saying that yes, even if it's a small organization, technology is very, very important because it will reduce a lot of paperwork, as Mr. Moya here has mentioned. And there are a number of open HR systems. I don't have a specific company that I would recommend on top of my mind, but we have worked with several of them. Perhaps this is a follow-up. Damaris, perhaps Karue can drop us the contacts, and then we can be able to recommend a few, and then they can choose the best technology that can fit the size of the organization. Because some IHRM systems are suited for very big organizations with so many people, so many functions, but there are some technologies that are very useful and relevant for small organizations, and they are also affordable. So it's not a one size fits all.
Okay, thanks very much, Daktari. I know of Nelson, the management of Gutha also does that. I don't know whether Nelson, you're here, probably you could just put a word, and if you're not there, kindly, I know most of us, maybe Terry or Richard or Mathangani, you could drop a contact there, because he also does this very well, could advise, but I know there are many options, but it's possible, like you've had Daktari say. This one I want to direct to CHRP Lucy to answer. It's a question from, let me read the name first. Elkana Chumo, and is saying, we've had situations where a boss feels threatened by the subordinates and resorts to intimidation. The question is, how can one balance the relationship with the boss and fighting for your space? Interesting one. Lucy, tell us more.
Okay, thank you so much, Damaris. I know it happens so much. And it's something that can be mitigated. Let me start by saying, first, what you need to do is to know your boss. Learn your boss. Know what your boss likes, know what your boss can take and tolerate, including learning the times that you can approach your boss with issues. I can give an example, a brief example. I had a boss a while back. You go to her pretty early in the morning and you'll be shocked whether you are from the same bed or not. So sometimes the timings at when we approach our bosses also matters. So you should actually learn to know when do you approach your boss. When it comes to work, we have had instances where the person below the manager, for example, is super, knows the work and is very efficient in what they do. So sometimes they start feeling of the boss that this guy knows so much and maybe he or she will take my role. But what I usually say is that once you're seated in a certain role, unless you quit, unless you resign, unless something happens, no one will take your role. So it's lack of maybe some kind of emotional intelligence on the part of the manager to actually think. But what you need to do to answer your question is, once you've learned your boss, even if you know you're smarter or there are things you have them at the fingertips of your boss, approach it in a way that it's like you're seeking concurrence, guidance, and then you give your suggestions. Actually, you'll be the one with the solution at the end of the day, but the way you approach it, the way you bring it out, is not like you're bringing it out in the way that I'm smart and it's me who has done this. Yeah. So you need to actually approach that strategically in a very wise way with full of emotional intelligence in it, given your boss. Some bosses don't mind, some really take an issue about it, and therefore you find that once they know you get praises or you get noticed, and they don't take that credit, then that happens. You find that you're always sidelined, you're not given even trainings, only because you do your work perfectly well. But what you do is just try to create a good relationship with your boss, even when your boss is not actually receptive. Just be that person who really wants to seek advice, even if you know it. So if you show your boss that I know it and therefore you don't know it, then you find yourself on the wrong footage. So once you learn your boss, you understand your boss very well, it will be very easy to work with the boss. And I always say, it's not a must for you to be friends to work together, but you must have that good working relationship. So if you shouldn't be friends at all, but if you are friends, well and good. If you are not, but be friends, be partners in working for the institution, because you all work for a common good. So that's what I would say, Elkanah. Just know your boss, learn your boss, know how to bring in things in a very intelligent and wise way. That way you'll find yourself going, things works for you. Thank you. I hope I've been able to answer you well.
Thanks. I believe so. You've actually
maybe
gone
I can add
a
just
lot.
one tip.
Yes, in a second, quickly.
Yes. One of the things that you should never do to your boss is, even if you are the CFO, very intelligent, whatever position you are, always make them feel taking the credit at that level. The worst you can do to anybody is human. Just because you know something better, don't try to play it down on them. They will start taking it personally. So always go with whatever you are presenting and let them own it. If they ask you questions, show them. I'm sure the chairman will be very pleased with this report. And sure enough, they'll come and tell you yes. And you tell them, if you have a problem, you can always give me a shout. So show them it is them, because at the end of the day, they are the top one. Now it is for them to appreciate you. Thank you.
True. Thanks very much, Mathangani, for adding that. Masi Koech is asking, any course or training offered in Kenya that you can recommend that helps one in HR analytics? Yes, there's a lot of analytics today. Is there any course that we know that someone can go and do in Kenya on analytics? Anybody can pick on this one.
Yes, I think
Oh yeah, go
Sorry.
Moya. Go Moya.
Yes, there is. Just look out for them. They are. I know one. We have people like Inquest. They do a lot of data. We also have another organization. I can't call it offhand. But if you just go, there are people who are doing analytics and HR, and you'll be able to get that in Kenya. I know there are those which we see in the internet. They are very expensive, but if your organization allows you to, you can get yourself into it. Yes, so the question is, yes, there is. The one that comes in, I'm not selling them, but I know Inquest, just Google them. I know he does that. We also have our own in-house called Nelson Ogoza. He can take you on a personalized journey. Dr. Kangura.
Very true, very true. Dr. do you want to add that? And Lucy as well?
Oh, yes. I said there are a number of courses. Yes, you can be able to get them, and I agree with Mutagani. And there is one institute that I also recommend because I interacted with them personally. It's called Tech Savannah Institute. And they are good in combining HR and technology and data analytics. And they give you a specialized tailor-made course for what you require. So that's what I would recommend. And I'm also inclined to answer the question about the boss because it comes up quite often. And it is important for all of us to understand what Mudangani has mentioned. I would add only one thing. There is a lot of power in humility. You know a lot of things, but you use them to support other people so that they can excel. Do not use it for personal interest or try to outshine other people, but you become somebody who is supportive and friendly and open, so that wherever you are putting across an idea to your boss, you are actually supporting them to excel, because your boss has a boss and he wants to excel. He is looking for promotion as well. And when you support your boss to excel, they also make you excel as well. So look out for that, and it is really, really important. So that's
a very key tip. That's a very key tip, actually, Francis, because for us to grow, which is one of the things I believe here we are very keen on, to grow our careers in HR, our boss or our supervisor plays a very big role. Is a person actually who will be the first most likely to recommend us for such a thing like promotion. So yes, we need to make them shine there. There is a comment here. Let me see, the Cornelius, and I read that. It is asking, do we need a recommendation when identifying a mentor? Can internet provide sufficient information? Yes, Madangani or Madam Lucy, probably you can tell us, do we need a recommendation to get a mentor, or we rely on information on internet? Is it sufficient?
I would say, yes, you need a recommendation. Sometimes it's good. If the person says, I do the following, it may be just good to say, whom else have you worked with? Period. They will say, I worked with Damaris. So I'll call Damaris and say, do you know Dr. Francis Kangure? Just may you walk to this journey. And yeah, they'll answer that. So you can do that, but not all the time, because you yourself can decide in this organization, or I know so-and-so whom I have interacted with is more knowledgeable in this. So you can do that, but sometimes it is either way. You can do seek a recommendation, because on the other hand, we're also too many of us around.
Okay, that's very true.
I think, Damaris, I agree with Dr. Rita, and I think sometimes, you may need, if at least the person is not familiar to you, that would be good to get that recommendation. So yeah, that works.
Oh, great. So
and Damaris, allow me, on the person who was asking whether there are courses on HR analytics, there's one trainer, but it's not within Kenya, but you can find, they have very nice online trainings, and that's why one of I can't remember if it's Richard or who said, if your institution can afford those online trainings, they can be quite pricey, but their prices are a bit friendly. It's called Academy to Innovate HR. If you can Google Academy to Innovate HR, there are very nice courses on analytics, but we can use the local ones if we get them.
Academy to Innovate HR.
Yes.
Yeah, I think I got that. Great. So this one is also an option, but Madam Lucy tells us to take a review. Richard, wow, looks like your mic your mic is not working here. I need to unmute you, but it's not responding. But lawyers go to university, but still go to Kenya School of Law. This is what Magoma thinks. Doctors, the same. Nurse, the same. There is education and a professional certification for, yeah, I believe you're talking on mentorship there, Richard, that which is very true. And it's the same for us as HR professionals as well. It's good that we become as we get equipped with the skills that we need to be as professional as we can in our area.
Damaris.
Unfortunately, the CHRP is about passing. Oh, wow. Caroline is feeling is about exams there. I'm just reading that comment. There's also someone else recommending, I think that was from Francis. Let me get a question to
Damaris, as you get a question, I think what you are reading is as a result of somebody who is asked with a master's and a higher diploma in HRM and over 10 years experience, why say HRP?
Yeah.
I can just answer
the answers
this.
To that.
Yeah. One, this has been a debate, but the fact is this, there's a legislation that was passed, and it is now almost 10 years old. I say, if you're working within a legal framework and you sit for 10 years saying, I don't do this because of this, what you have done is that you have lost 10 years. But I know people have said, HRP has said they don't find a lot of value in CHRP. So what do? Develop yourself. There are things you're not taught in HR class. There are things even that lawyer is not taught in law school. They are taught, like I said, what are the principles, concepts, laws, and all that. And to make a difference between that very successful doctor and accountant, somebody who studied accounting, there are those other skills which were taken through by Dr. Francis Kagore and Lucy Mandago. So go beyond that. Don't fight a mammoth. Work in organization. Today, the organization which don't even take, they don't take CHRP itself, but the people are very successful. So don't limit yourself. It's not the CHRP that will get you out, but it's how well you perform. I can assure you, we have worked in organizations and very, very agile HRPs, accountants rise to be CFOs, but they have to go to SPAC and get that because it's the mark of professionalism. So don't take it that just because you have done CHRP or you have a master's, without due respect, and let's disabuse ourselves of this. A master's does not make you pass the best HRP on the ground. It gives you insights, and then BA gives you insights to manage business. But then you have to know how, if you're going to manage people. Just like I always ask people, have you ever seen an engineer with a master's? Have you ever seen an engineer, an architect? Those who go for those, they specialize in one area, but it's what they use, they learned, is what makes them successful as engineers technically, and also as managers. So that engineer who makes that bad road, he will not get the next project because he has values and he manages the project. So please, let's not so much fight and say, I have this and therefore I can do, I should be promoted. And let me tell you, a lot of organizations don't care. I don't mind about the public sector, which is very rigid. It even now has put itself to be very selfish by saying you must have gone for the advanced course at the Kenya School of Government. So it has lost the private people. So if you want to go to the public sector, then go and you must then find a way of enrolling that. But if you want to thrive in the private sector, which has opportunities, just manage yourself, have your career path done. What Lucy said. So I would say, yes, we do feel it. Some of us are in that. Some people are locked out after 2012, but it has not stopped them from thriving. They're still doing wonderful jobs. They are heads, directors of HR. They don't have CHRP. So work on yourself and you'll get there. Because it's not the HRP will get you, it will get you in where it is required. Then you might say, then that is not my employer. Because if I don't have a master's and they're asking for a master's, I don't apply for that job myself. If they're asking for a PhD, I can't apply. But there are people without that who are thriving. That's what I would apply this. From a broad perspective, I'm not speaking for IHRM. I'm speaking for people who want to advance their careers. Thank you.
Thank you, Mathangani. I think
Maybe
you
I can
are.
add one point, Mr. Mudagari. Can I add one point, Damaris, or she has dropped off? Yeah.
No, I'm here. I can hear you. Maybe in a second, very fast.
Yeah, I like the answer from Madagani. And one thing that is important for HR professionals is for us to get into the profession. When you are you get into the profession, you get regulated and you get recognized. That recognition is very important, that you have a practicing certificate. And the entry point is actually CHRP. And in whichever way you look at it, you could be competent and working very well and you have gone to school. But one thing I'll tell you is that there is no knowledge that goes into a waste. If there is need for you to go through CHRP, it's going to open opportunities for you. And you are going to learn one or two things that you did not learn in an academic line. I want to talk, I want to talk about myself. I did CHRP when I had a PhD. And I went to class, I was taught, I passed my exams. Why? Because I wanted to get into the profession. I learned new things that I did not understand in my academic life. So it's really, really important for us to take advantage of those opportunities, as Mudagani says. So thank you very much.
I'll take one more question, then I bring Richard. Richard, are you in or you?
Yeah, I am in now.
Okay. Oh, great. Oh, great. So let me take this one for Lucy, and then you come on board because we need to close this. We are 9 minutes over, and we will have to take the HR buzzword of the week as we wind up. But Felicia, Brenda is asking, what are the right procedures to follow when transitioning from other professions to HR? I like this. Matters of transition. Lucy, Madam Lucy, could you handle this first?
Okay, thank you, Damaris, and thank you for the question. I think first you could ask yourself, it depends on institutions, the culture of the institution. Are you in the same institution and therefore you want to transit to HR? Does the culture of the institution support people when they want to move from one function to the other? Is that environment there for you? And therefore, is it anchored in the policy that you can actually at any given time transition to any other function that you think your passion now has gone to? Maybe you're in marketing and after some time you notice that you can actually do HR. So the procedure is to ask yourself questions. As I go to HR, do I have the prerequisite skills to perform the HR function? Do you have all what it takes for you to be in the HR function? Because if you transition to HR and you don't have the skills that will enable you to perform well in that area of HR, then it could be so difficult for you to to match with the people who are already there. So you must build yourself, have the skills in place and work on it. What other institutions I've seen do is that they have it in their policies and they mark people. So maybe today you're in marketing and you've realized that over time, as they do the evaluations and any other thing they do, they realize that you and your supervisor agree, actually, I think my passion is in HR, and therefore I'd like to transition to. Once that happens, once you've been identified and you have actually agreed that I'll move to HR, you give yourself time. Maybe in a period of say 1 year, you must have done 1 to 3, which includes the certifications, the ones we were just talking about, and we're asking if I have this, do I do this? Probably, maybe you don't have, then you have to go to school to get the basic skills that will help you perform in the HR function. So that's the procedure that you should follow, but it starts from yourself auditing yourself. If I want to go to HR, do I then have the basic skills that will help me perform my roles in HR? So that's, again, it depends on every institution. It's not uniform for all. It depends on how is the culture of the institution, what are the policies in the institution, and does it support that? We've seen many people in some institutions, they're so rigid, say that you cannot actually move today from HR to another function or another function to another one. So, but some, as time goes by, you find that the environment and the workplace has become so dynamic. So you can even find an engineer who is a very good HR person. And therefore, if you realize this is happening, so long as the person can deliver and they have the basic skills, you can allow them. But it's a process, and it's something that I think it needs to be worked on in so many institutions. So one is know yourself, assess whether you have the skills. The institution should allow for that transition to happen, either by having policies in place and even the culture in the institution. Thank you so much, Damaris. That's all I have to say, unless anyone else has
Great, thanks. Yes, I like those pointers. You also need to audit the skills you have, and that there is the interest from the organization to transition you. I love that. I don't think we need to add that, and maybe if there's any addition, we can move to the chat. That is to the other speakers maybe to do that. So I want to welcome Richard. Are you there?
Yeah, I am here.
Yeah, oh, great, welcome. We lost you
Yes,
in the mic, but I see you were following there, right?
Yeah.
Okay, so then I pick the HR word of the week, and then you.
HR Buzz of the Week. Talent Intelligence.
Can we hear that? Are we?
Yeah.
Okay,
Yes.
Talent intelligence tools, a set of management tools that heavily rely on artificial intelligence, AI mechanisms to proactively surface talent insights. These AI-based platforms quickly learn how to personalize and optimize intelligence to fit the business-specific talent and recruiting needs. For example, AI-based talent intelligence tools help HR teams to demonstrate their commitment to career management. They give talent management teams the ability to map employee careers within the company based on data from resumes and historical data about skills needed in certain roles. By harnessing the power of AI, HR is able to outline the skills needed for a variety of positions along an employee's projected career path. With talent intelligence tools, this can also be done before a candidate is hired, so they can see their future before they accept an offer. This will not only help entice people to join the company, but also encourage them to stay. I thought you should know. Proudly HR.
Wow.
Fantastic.
There you have it, Richard. That's our buzzword of the week. I hope you got something. We will share it widely just to reinforce what it means. Karibu Magoma.
Thank you very much. I am seated here and I'm trying to wonder, supposing Damaris was thrown out like she was, supposing Terry was thrown out the way she was, supposing Madangani was thrown out, like Murphy's Law will always revisit. Murphy's Law will always come. And I've always told HR people, you have got to stand on your feet and think. And I am very happy that Doctor took charge, Lucy took charge, Terry came in. That exchange, because some of us who were meant to moderate were thrown out completely. A HR person should not let a crisis go to waste. If you should remember everything that you have had, never let a crisis go to waste. Agility, learn, and don't throw opportunities. Sometimes opportunities are in overalls and they are disguised as and very uncomfortable things, very unpleasant things. As Daktari has said, knowledge does not go to waste. I remember a certain doctor friend of mine bought a book for 30 shillings and the wife complained, "You like buying books a lot." The following, I think 3 weeks later, the doctor got a speaking gig of 20,000 shillings out of that shillings that he had invested in a book in the streets. So as Dr. Kagura said, there is knowledge and that knowledge cannot go to a waste. You can utilize it in managing opportunities. Opportunities come in disguises. They come in overalls and then we give them a wide berth. Take and seize opportunities. I'm glad that you have learned what is to be career intentional. I'm glad that you have learned what are the fundamentals of human resource management. I'm glad that you have learned how to think strategically. Maybe Talent Growers Club will now plan for a physical meeting whereby technology will not throw us under the bus. Thank you very much, Damaris.
Thanks as well. I don't know whether you've been able to check our
You've gone mute.
Yeah, thanks. I realized I was mute. I was actually laughing what Richard emphasized there. What if all the panelists actually get thrown out? What will happen like today? That was quite a tech character development for me today. But it tells us we need to be ready actually for every situations we find ourselves, especially us who deal with people. And now we are advancing to analytics and tech. Yes, we had better be ready. So Richie, in case there's anything burning from Facebook, kindly bring them on board before we close, because we are about to close. Mine is to say, please leave your email there if I don't have it or the club doesn't have it, because there are many questions here that I believe we'll be able to answer and maybe share. Let me check this out.
Damaris, encourage people, we meet on Friday.
Yes.
Encourage people, we meet on Friday for data analytics. Nelson, our very own, is launching an HR app. Let us come and support him. Those are the unicorns we need in HR. Welcome on Friday. It's going to be fantastic. It is going to be great. Come, let's support.
Very true.
These new
innovations. If you haven't yet seen that invite, please let us know, because we'll drop it on your email. It's even today. I think today in the evening, it's still telling us more. Those who are talking about analytics, please don't miss out today, because you'll be talking more about data analytics and how to merge this profession with data and evidence-based decision making. Otherwise, from us, thank you very much. Like Richard started in the morning by telling us it's a series in the spirit of celebrating Human Resource Month, and there is a lot that is in store for all of us. And watch out for the next episodes, because we will be moving from mentorship to something else that we need to build ourselves into, physical meetings on some other topical areas, and as well also have fun as human resource. To the panelists, you've been awesome. You've been baptized even to moderate in the middle of also sharing your insights. I love you all. I will ask you to give your parting shot at this moment, starting with CHRP Lucy Mandago. Give us your parting shot.
Wow, thank you, Damaris. I think a point to think about is what Richard had said. If all of us were to fall off, then what happens?
Mhm.
But I think it has been a good session. I've enjoyed it. I've learned a lot also. So thank you guys for turning up, and I hope you will be better professionals going forward. See you next time.
Thank you very much. We have quite learned from your experience. We look forward to having you again in the next upcoming series to continue telling us more and sharing much from your experience. Thank you very much for agreeing to come on board as well and creating time. Dr. Francis Kagure.
Mine is to thank Brew Concepts Africa, Mutagani here, Richard, for a very, very informative session. And as a takeaway, and this is what I want to pass to the young people who are here, is that you are a product of time. So utilize your time very well and continue to learn. Thank you very much.
Words of wisdom there, Dr. Thanks as always for showing up, stepping out to support the upcoming and even HR profession per se. We haven't had a lot in what you're doing in the green jobs. I guess we'll bring you back on board, tell us more on how we can leverage as HR in this initiative of green jobs. But thanks very much for coming on board. You will plug in the next series, I believe. Mathangani Muya, are you there?
Yes, I am. But thank you, the participants and the moderating team. The key thing I'd like to say is in HR, don't look for niceties. Niceties don't get you anywhere, even in leadership. Stick to the line that is fair and consistent in what the objectives are set against. Don't be afraid to speak out, to stand with your principles or what is right. Because anytime people see HR as a so-called soft, and then what happens is that when we are not able to drive our agenda by as leaders, we have been baptized as feared people. I saw a comment there. Why are HR people feared? Is because we only deal with the negative aspect of dealing with people. We are still hiring. We are not listening. Let's listen to people. Tell them the facts, the truth, and why what is happening is what's happening, and support them. Don't be the person who always will stand with the management even when it is so wrong. Make your point clear and make sure you balance. It's not an easy walk, but the minute you're very clear that I'm doing the right thing, I don't think it should hold you back in moving. To get out of your comfort zones. Some of us get into jobs and we are not growing. Please seek your growth, whether it is internally or elsewhere. If you stay for more than 10 years in one spot with a bad culture, it will be very difficult to get out of it. So learn to be adventurous. If you are posted to Kisumu, go. Know how they live there. If you're posted to Turkana, go. Stay there for 3 years. Expand. Don't be the city girl and city boy with a big TV screen. Yes, there are also screens in Turkana. So be bold, speak out, be consistent, move out of your comfort zones, but also develop your personal growth. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
I have a parting shot.
Good. Yes, I was coming to you.
Do you have a pen? The people who are on the call, do you have a pen? Right? Excellence and success are a product of sleepless nights. Excellence and success are a product of sleepless nights. What I'm trying to say, if you are in a comfort zone, you will never ever change anybody. And HR professionals are influencers. If you are comfortable, you can't influence anybody. Thank you.
Great. I think that is a great parting shot and a great point to end it. I must say this was one very intriguing moment because in all my profession of learning about this Zoom and online learning, today was the day I was thrown out like a panelist and an assistant speaker, a moderator. And can you imagine, I haven't even shared my content that I had, but I'm told it's agility. We move swiftly forward. But I want to end it with 3 words that I've learned, because something I wanted to put some pointers on is leadership, especially self-leadership for HRPs. And self-leadership is what actually will make you do be more intentional, as Dr. said from the onset in his session when he was presenting, which is important. And 3 points I've learned that will make you a great leader in HR. Number 1 is being great in what you do. And this one you have to put time. I can't emphasize this enough because it's been told by the other panelists. You must put in the work, Mathangani Muyo always keeps on telling us, you can't escape it. You have to put in the work, put in the time. You need to learn what the fundamentals of HR are, as was said by Madam Lucy and Mathangani. You've got to go in there and learn them. Ask people, get mentored. In other words, put your foot forward. And that is in the interest of putting the ability and competence up. Trust is very key, because that's what makes us reliable. Being able to be understood that we can actually deliver and do the things we say we will do, and do them well. And the last one is having a sense of benevolence. We are in HR, and therefore we must be seen to truly want other people to succeed as well. And from Damaris, that's how I end it. Thank you very much. Thank you to the participants. You're awesome. I can see the chat is still flowing with a lot of information, but we will not do that. We will share all the content through the chat to your emails. Otherwise, from Damaris, Ndungwa, I am a lead strategist. I get lost when people were introducing themselves, but I'm happy to have helped in moderating this as well as in sharing. Otherwise, have a great day. In all my sessions, this is the way I tell people when we are ending, feel free to unmute and say goodbye, at least if you didn't get an opportunity to speak. From me to the speakers, awesome, you're great. Till next time. Bye.